Okay. Hey everybody. Can you hear me? Got a little siren in the background. I think you got audio. Welcome back to another episode of Bushwhacking History in Buffalo with Berserker Bear. So let people file in. Nicole Hailstock, how are you? First live from Belo. There you go. Thanks for stopping in. If you've been following along, I've been meaning to, we'll just get right into it. I've been meaning to share this book of mine for a while now. It's got my great-grandmother's stencil, name stencil in it, and I'm going to present the entire book because it's a literary digest, and it's got some super cool information in it and some old insight, and a little bit of I guess you'd say grab-old history, but I'm going to present it. I'm also going to give just a little bit of backstory on it, although I don't have as much as I'd like to have, but we'll see a couple pictures. So my great-grandmother Frances lived in this house that I'm in right now, and a lot of the books that I have that I present and I use for my research are from her library. Also my grandfather's, but my great-grandmother Frances is my grandfather's mother, and she liked to paint. And I'm going to present that book to you, and we're just going to hang out. So I hope you like it. And I can't hear any. How does the audio sound? I'm kind of getting my bearings right now. If you guys can give me, I thought I had the audio playing, but I can't hear it right now. Oh, there we go. So, little feedback right quick before we get into it. Let's see, I'll show you some pictures. Okay, so there goes Pops. That's my dad. Dad, thanks for everything. And he's a lot of the books that I have coalesced together into my library that were my grandfather's, my great-grandmother's, were at my dad's house. And I had about 2 years ago now. I coalesced them all here, got them all together, identified, categorized them, and now it's what you see. I got a bunch of my books and reference books and academic books around me in my wingspan. So as we go through these pictures, let me show you a couple. I'll preview it for you. Do you guys want to hear do you guys mind having the music in the background? This is kind of the intro music, and I'm debating whether or not I should play some smooth tunes during, because then it's just one more thing I gotta monitor over. But let me know what you guys think. And as I go through these pictures, I'd like to get feedback from you guys. So this is my work desk, not the desk that you see me at right now. This is upstairs on the first floor, and that's where I work from. I'm grateful to work from home. The desk has a little dust on it, double entendre, if you get it. So yeah, a couple days ago, I went through and took pictures of, we got 67 slides to go through, and each slide has both pages on it, right? So that's all we're going to do. And I would like to get your feedback. We got 6 people here. I appreciate that. Please make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe. If you do like my work, I always like to say that if you come here, you're probably going to learn something new. I guarantee that's the case with this book, because this is everything. I'm not going to read every single excerpt. I'm not even going to read the introduction here. I would advise pausing. You got good clarity, you can read it. But for the sake of the fact that there's 67 frames to go through, and on each one there's a lot of gravy. Like, for example, this is just the first page. We got 8-foot-tall giants. There are giants in these days, just as in all other days, who owe their exceptional size to the overactivity of the little gland called the pituitary body, located within the skull. This explanation of gigantism is one of the discoveries of modern times. So this is the kind of conjecture that we're going to get into and extrapolate and have insight on, because right off the bat, I don't just think that gigantism can be solely only attributed to the pituitary gland. I think that there were giants. It says it in the Bible. I produce this content through the lens of my faithful lens of a follower of Christ and the way and God Most High. So look at this is what we're going to go through, and I'll pop back into the chat, go back and forth, and I mean, we're gonna go through each page. So 67 pages. I took them all a couple days ago so I could present them to you guys. I hope you like it. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, I got a new feature. Okay, so if you've seen in the chat, let's go back right quick. There goes Pops. Instagram page. And, well, not Social Galactic. Although Social Galactic is crushing. Okay, we got, hey, Tall Oaks, good to see you. Natalie Rankla, thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. So again, if you could share this out, get some more heads up in here and get some feedback. So there's Dad, and that's the book we're going to share. Now, my great-grandmother Frances, again, whose name is stenciled on the book I got right here, handy, right next to me. Yeah, right. Frances Roth. Now, she liked to paint. And she wasn't Viking herself, but my great-grandfather was. And I showed this before, my heritage. My father took the blood test for my heritage DNA before I can advise him otherwise. But it's cool because we got confirmation now. We know Grandma Frances, she is German, okay? But her husband, my grandpa Pappy, my great-grandpa Pappy, was born in Oslo, Norway. So that's where she got her reverence for Vikings and stuff like that because of my great-grandfather Pappy. Again, born in Oslo. And we have proof is in the pudding right here. I did not do the blood test, y'all. I won't, but I'm glad my father did. I'll say because we got the information. Scandinavian. Now we know that it's Norwegian because of my great-grandfather. And he, again, was married to my great-grandmother Frances. And she painted stuff such like this. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I forget that I'm on dual screen here. Show that in a little bit. Get my mug off of the... You guys don't want to see me the whole time. So, yeah, there you go. This is from my dad. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because she had a proclivity for painting. She didn't start painting, my dad tells me, until she was like 60 when they moved down to Florida. And my dad used to go into her painting room and mess around with her painting stuff, you know, and she would very politely come in and not yell at him, just close the caps on all the tubes and shoo them out of there, which I thought was pretty cool. So that was a cool story, Dad. Now, this is a painting of hers. Most of these paintings that you're going to see before I showcase the book and a ladle gravy on that are at my dad's house. Okay. But this one, I'd like to have it here at my house, but this is at my brother's house. So he actually just sent this to me about, half an hour ago. So, brother, thank you. And all you see here, that's on the original. Well, it's on like not a frame, but one of those borderless frames or whatever you say. Donna Bailey, welcome. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. We're learning about a 1931 circa copyright literary digest book that I'm going to present tonight for you in its entirety, all 67 frames. But it was my great-grandmother Frances's book, and she was a painter. I'm just explaining that right now. And if you're just listening, there's a picture of a Viking boat on the sea. You know, she wasn't the best artist. Again, she started when she was 60, but she put some effort into it. And my brother just enhanced the contrast on that one. That's why you see it a little bit more bright. And then she did some other paintings too. I like this one a lot, actually. I wish I had more information and more backstory, but maybe I'll get that for you because I got a lot more older books from her collection from the late 1800s that are not novels only. They're like academic books. So I've been meaning and kind of chopping at the bit. Uh-oh, look at this. We got here. Is that a mud flood? This is probably one of my other favorite paintings of hers. I like the homie in the chic dude right here. But this one's cool too. You know, it's like quaint, a back cabin. It's got the water mill. That's the free energy, you know, that you think. Antiquitech is not my wheelhouse. I think that most of them were lightning rods, but hey, there could have been high technology back in the day, but I don't want to get into the boat of like Brian Forrester type of deal. So another painting from her. So shout out to my grandma Frances. The book that we're going to showcase right now is from her collection, and I'm grateful because one of the main things that I try to promote here is doing research out in the field and getting out from behind the keyboard. And if you that's okay. 1% is 100% is what I like to say. Obviously my moniker is Berserker Bear with the Unbearables and Owen Benjamin. Shout out to the Bears. God bless all of you. But 25, I say 1% is 100% as far as Vikings go. So Skull Viking mocked, eh? All right. So in the meantime, I also like to promote my Instagram, my IG. You can get to it from my YouTube page. Let's go see what's going on in YouTube. But yeah, in between videos here on this channel that you're watching me on right now, YouTube, I post a whole bunch of stuff, pop culture, things I think are cool, movies, insight on movies, feedback on movies, movie recommendations, family pictures, what I'm doing with research, cool stuff like this. I always thought this was a great little cartoon. One more layer down and we'll be 20,000 or 20 million BC. And right underneath the guy's feet, the archaeologist is a outboard motor. Encapsulates a lot there. So yeah, that's my Instagram page. Check it out. And again, you can get it from my, let's not slow up here, guys. Here goes my YouTube channel, and the top rocker, the picture. When I say top rocker, I mean the top picture on my homepage for my YouTube. The bottom right of that, you can get to my Odyssey. Odyssey is just strictly back up to my YouTube. When I load a video on YouTube, it automatically goes to Odyssey and IG. So you click that and you get over here. And in between episodes, check me out. I'm always doing stuff there. You can also DM me if you are so inclined, and I'll always respond if I mostly do respond if I have the time. So without any further ado, anybody has any questions, we'll come back in and say hello. Tall Oak says, recovering bearable. Hey man, to each their own. I hear you. You guys know me as Berserker Bear, so it is what it is. And again, I appreciate everybody coming back. So what are we going to look at here? And what's going to be the MO as far as like modus operandi, what I'm going to do. And I'll pause that for a second. And we'll remove that. So, like I said, we're just going to go through. This is a Funkin' Wagnalls company. And it was, well, that's the publisher, Funkin' Wagnalls, okay? And yeah, look at it. I got some good quality on these pictures. It's kind of painstaking to do it. It's not hard. Of course, it's tedious and painstaking, though, especially for someone who has, let's just say, some OCD about me. But yeah, okay. By Henry Smith and Williams, MD, LLD, author of The Story of Modern Science, The Great Astronomers. Oh, geez. So yeah, there's going to be some grabbled history in here. We got stuff from actually the old school 100 years ago vaccinations for the like Spanish flu and stuff like that. So that will be interesting to look at and see. Again, let's check out the copyright. Here you go. 1931. So, of course, there's censorship on the internet. And I don't say books are the be-all, end-all of all the information that we have access and available to us. There is also censorship in books, okay? And we're going to see that. So I'd like to get some feedback from you guys. And we got 12 people here. Perfect. I appreciate that. If you guys don't feel, oh, hey, Sasha Lopez, good to see you. I appreciate you always stopping by and supporting my work. So, yeah, I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Very cool. If you have any feedback, or I'm not going to read every single excerpt. Like I said, this can take us a long time. I hope that you were wary when I said it earlier to pause on this screen and read it. let's see, let's zoom in for you a little bit more so you can get a pause. You'll see the general gist of it's a literary digest. It's not like obviously it's not a novel. It's a bunch of excerpts of cool, I mean, all these little lines here, line items, if you will, are what we're going to see pictures of. There's a lot. And again, so censorship, it's like, they portray the Aboriginals as, barbaric, like what they're doing. So feedback is going to be appreciated. And I'd like to bounce back and forth ideas with you. So here goes this is the first page. Now, you got right off the bat, like I said earlier, in my wingspan, I got books that we can use as we're going through it. I can pull, here's one of my space books, Space Atlas. I like to detail like the standard candle and how they know how far things are away, but it might take a little bit further time. So you guys tell me what you want to hear. I'll put some tunes on to pass it a little bit easier. And again, you're watching Bushwhacking History in Buffalo. I'm presenting the book from my family library. That is now mine. I'm grateful for it. And let's learn something. So first page, yeah, you got Spiral Nebula. Now, I am a creationist. I believe in creation, and I don't believe in astronomy as we're told anymore, okay? If that's triggering to you, you might be at the wrong channel, because I'm open to everybody's interpretation on stuff. So that said, let's read what they say about the Spiral Nebula, if they even do. Life-saving mother worlds. They don't. There's not even a... I've been through this book quite a few times before. In a few pages, you'll see a lot more detail on astronomy. But I'd like to read one of these real quick. So here we go. You got the Roadrunner battling the Rattler. That actually kind of reminds me of an IG post that I'll play after I read this. The Roadrunner is rather a grotesque, an interesting bird of the desert, allied to the cuckoos. It has been seen by most motor tourists who cross the continent by the Arizona route, but not many persons have witnessed such a battle with the rattlesnake, as is here depicted. The bird is said to be able to spring aside rapidly enough to avoid the stroke, and to strike back instantly before the snake has time to recoil. All reports agree that the snake is certain to be vanquished, if not killed. The bird's strong bill is aimed always at the neck of the snake's head. So this is where we'll do some sideways research, because I recently posted, check this out, y'all, on my let's get back on my Instagram. If you go and scroll down a little bit, check this out. There we go. Raptor takes the serpent. I just thought that was so cool. Boom, look at how precise that is. And those talons are like ratcheted. Once they clamp down, they won't come apart unless they clamp tighter on those raptors. Raptors are birds of prey, general sense. So there you go. That's the type of stuff we're going to do, back and forth. If I got a book that has relevancy, like, for example, astronomy, stuff like that, autoplay. All right. So that's going to be... Philip, what's up, man? Oh, goodness, yeah. Let's play that again. Philip, thank you. I got to be wary of that. Sorry. I'll get better. All right, yeah, check this out. He's like, can you make it better? I can't see anything. I'm sorry about that. I should actually take my mug off of it. There we go. You guys don't need to see me. So yeah, Raptor takes the snake. That's on my IG. Again, check it out in between my videos. That's going to be kind of like the format here. And we have, now this is a cool earthquake phenomenon. Keep in mind, this is 1930, circa 1931, and I got my ideas about what certain earthquakes are, or like when the fires of Chicago and stuff, that John Levi talk about. I think that they were using some of the hydraulic monitors to knock down some of these buildings, like water pressure. But let's read what they say about phenomenon, and we'll take it on to the next page. All right. Earthquakes are due to fracture of portions of the Earth's crust. Again, I got a book over here from 1911 about Earth's geography. Evidencing the instability of solid Earth. According to the newer theories, the crust of the continents, I disagree, called Sial, S-I-A-L, is afloat in an underlying sea of so-called SEMA. What? I never even heard of these terms. And I'm going to see if it's in my high school geography book, actually, but we'll do that another time, and we'll cross-reference and track back to this one. I've never heard of SEMA. It's called spelled S-I-M-E, and the continents as a whole are shifting their positions. Such movement involves strains that result in fissures and fractures, which may be far below the surface or may extend to the surface itself. The tremblings caused by such fractures are registered by seismograph when not otherwise discernible. Larger fractures or those near the surface result in the familiar and terrifying phenomenon associated with the name, quote, earthquake, unquote. The vibration of advances in a series of waves from the one or more central points called foci, usually deep down in the earth. It may arise from splitting of a great mass of rock by the strain just mentioned, or by volcanic action. That's debatable. See what I'm saying? This is like the first page, guys. We got a whole bunch to go through, so we're going to go through it come heck or high water. The disturbances sometimes consist of a single shock lasting but a moment, yet powerful enough to wreck a city. Sometimes of a series continuing at intervals for days or weeks. Scientists have discovered that its destructive effects vary largely with the nature of the ground through which it passes and with the position of the place relatively to the focus. Some of this grammar is a little bit off, dare I say. No part of the globe, see, there you go, debatable. No part of the globe is entirely free from earthquakes, but the regions that suffer the most severely from such phenomena are those bordering the largest oceans, like the Ring of Fire that we know of around the Pacific, right? All right, so let's check it out. So we got these guys here down in... Oh, natural law. Okay, for uncivilized and civilized people alike, fashion has the power of inexorable natural law. Shout out EBT and Jim Bob. We were just talking about that yesterday, if anyone's following along. So, wow, that's kind of a sync. I did not know. I never read that excerpt one. Natural law, that's a sync. All right, walking through fire. These guys. Asbestos suits. I've heard Hangman 1128, shout out to him and the giant trees, say that he thinks asbestos was part of the trees back in the day. Silicon trees. Silicates. All right, here we go. Harnessing the Colorado. And we got the Hoover Dam as planned in the pictures. We also have a picture of what is termed a unique sanitarium, and it's shaped as a globe. So let's read the Harnessing of the Colorado right quick and see what that sanitarium is. All right. So Harnessing the Colorado, and there's a cool picture. These are black and white pictures too, by the way. Again, this book's 1931. All right. Harnessing the Colorado. It seems strange that when the wood has been cut from a forest region where no coal is available except as hauled from a long distance, how long, Bear? Shout out. There should still be hesitancy about setting the running water at work. And strangest of all, it seems that men attempting to establish homes in an arid region where neither wood nor coal is available should calmly look upon a mighty stream of water that could at once make deserts bloom and factory wheels hum, without seeming thought of attempting to use the liquid that could be made to perform miracles, but which, left to its own devices, merely mocks them. Is that right? Again, that's the flowing water. That's the free energy, in my opinion. The Terra energy. Well, aqua terra, water flowing on land. Yet such is the social and economic paradox that confronts us when we consider the conditions that obtain in a great part of the immense region through which the mighty Colorado River tunnels its way. That a man who suffers the pangs of thirst should decline to dip up water from a river flowing at his feet seems incredible. But such a companion is hardly just. To secure the potential benefits of the Colorado is not a mere matter of assuming a receptive attitude. It implies, on the contrary, stripping the communal loins for a colossal labor. The famed canyons seem to beckon the dam maker, but they invite to art engineering tasks of stupendous difficulties. Moreover, there are political complications, for the interests of no fewer than 7 states are involved, and the needs of different regions are not always the same. That's very, very interesting. A little insight on the Hoover Dam there in the Colorado, and always watch out when the levee breaks from robber barons, because another thing on my IG I posted recently is called the Vajont Dam disaster. It's called VAJONT, the Vajont Dam disaster, and it was in Italy, and this is what happened. Huge. They dammed up a river or a stream, and it caused the land to be unstable in the mountain. And look how much water poured down. This is like a scale size or a simulation. But when the levee breaks, this was an unbelievably horrible disaster because we dammed up the earth in a major way, called the Vajont Dam disaster. Check that out. Look at my IG when you get a chance. All right, back to... Okay, so anybody got any questions? Also, yeah, that's right. That's the When the Levee Breaks. That's a song by Led Zeppelin. Very good call there. There you go. Yeah, this might be, if you're not interested in seeing stuff like this, it might be a boring episode for you. But like I said, nonetheless, regardless, I'm sharing this whole thing. I feel obligated to it. It's a family heirloom. I've been wanting to share it. I feel that you guys deserve to see it instead of it just sitting on my bookshelf collecting dust and being there for whenever I want to reference it. So now we're going to start getting into some cool stuff. Oh, sorry. We got the rear view of the propeller car, air-propelled locomotive. Very cool, interesting, like streamlined looking train here. Let's read about it. The propeller that grips the air and pulls this locomotive is precisely like that of an airplane. It would seem incredible that narrow propeller blades could grip the air hard enough to pull a train of cars, where it were not that everyone has now become familiar with the flight of airplanes. A mechanism that can lift tons of metal into the air, even with the aid of the air itself rushing against the wings of the craft, can be expected to pull a wheeled vehicle, the weight of which is supported on rails. In reality, such a craft, as here illustrated, outspeeds a steam locomotive. And you got on screen right there, what is the propeller car? Looks like that's gone by the wayside because I have not heard about that at all. Okay, here we go with the universe stuff. Really big universe. We'll read it, and we have it's all hodgepodge back and forth. I mean, we have a diver's excerpt right here. Again, that's why I'm not going to read everything. And then we got a boiling kettle on ice. I'm zooming in enough so if you want to stop and pause, like I said, my data is your data. Mis datos son tus datos for you Spanish followers out there. Okay, let's see what they say about the really big universe. These guys, Funk and Wagnalls, circa 1931. Okay, this is a really big universe, allegedly. If the observations of a certain star cluster or nebula by the Harvard astronomers are to be relied upon. There you go. That's it right there. If a small group of people probably have a very expensive instrument that they only can interpret and use. right? But you trust us. Just trust us. Okay. Measured right across from side to side, so far as a telescope has yet to reveal. Wait, measured right across from side to side, so far as the telescope has yet revealed its bounds, it appears to encompass truly notable size of. They really postulated a size back then, 350,000 to 400,000 parsecs. Now, I'm going to actually, you know what, we're going to do that. If you guys want to see scale on what these wizards are talking about, there is a very cool application called Scale of the. I used to love this thing. I talked about it with Jim Bob when I was on his show a couple times ago, and it's unbelievable. You can. Yes. There you go. So you can zoom all the way in or zoom all the way out. Now, if you zoom all the way out, we're talking about parsecs. I mean, neutron star. This is a really cool app. I don't believe all of it though. Like, I don't believe in the construct that they say outer spaces, even though I did almost my whole life. So again, you can zoom all the way out. I don't want to get got on a strike here. And then boom. So allegedly that's the size of the observable universe, and then what's outside of it, because there's a light horizon. You got to follow up on that yourself, guys. I'm not going to get into astrophysics right now. That it's a part of my history. But okay, then you could zoom all the way into like quark size and like how small things are, and it just kind of shows how kind of insane what they're saying is. All the way down to Planck time and Planck length and the strings and quantum foam. Okay. Anyway, that was Scale of the Universe too. Check that out, and I think you'll find it interesting. So they said at that time, 1931, that the alleged size of the universe is between 350,000 and 400,000 parsecs. Wow. But what, you ask, is a parsec? Exactly. Naturally enough, for the word is not much in vogue outside astronomical circles. No person with earthbound ideas could have any possible use for a parsec, for the name is a shortcut for the parallax second and means the distance at which the parallax or apparent shift of position of a star as viewed from opposite sides of the Earth's orbit is 1 second of arc. Put in figures, this is something less than 2 million miles, or stated otherwise, about 206,265 times the mean distance of Earth from the sun. Okay. So this is what they're trying to explain the size of the universe is, when they have really crude instruments to, nowhere near what they have today. And today they can't even find it out. So put that one in your pipe. Such distances, just to name them, make only a little giddy, somewhat more familiar way of measuring the vast spaces involved is by light years, 186,000 miles per second. It goes distinctly far in a year, about 5 million miles. Yet it takes like 4.5 years to come to us from the nearest star. And the light from the globular star cluster, the observation of which led to the new estimate of the size of the universe, requires from 50,000 to 100,000 light years to reach us. No way. The particular rays of light that have just been glimpsed left their source thousands of years before human history began. I don't buy it. We are told that the new estimates make the size of our universe about 2 quintillions of miles, with a leeway of error of perhaps 300. Okay, give me a break. There you go. So that's the kind of stuff that is conjecture and what they say modern science is, as far as astrophysics and all that. And I don't buy it. What's more interesting to me is stuff that's tangible, that you can touch, that you can measure, that you can walk on and study. For example, what you see on screen right now, it's called, this thing looks boss, turbo generator used in Los Angeles. Shout out to anybody who's in LA. Yo, what's up, Skull Asylum? Good to see you. Waking up with analog. Welcome. He says, consider it my pipe. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, thanks again for stopping by, everybody. This is going to be a slow mover, but I hope you like it. So this is what I want to see, guys. So there goes a great generator at Niagara Falls. Again, that's like 20 minutes away from me. I could hit the 190 right now, the old footprint of the Erie Canal, and be in Niagara Falls probably in 15 minutes, getting you pictures. That's kind of why I believe that I'm here doing what I'm doing for a reason. So let's check this out. Outworking 5 million men. Here we go. The great generator at Niagara Falls. When Michael Faraday, greatest of the experimental physicists, put a little electrified disc of metal between the poles of a magnet and saw it rotate, he undoubtedly realized that he had witnessed a very remarkable manifestation of the transformation of energy. The toy itself was perhaps 2 or 3 inches in diameter and weighed a few ounces. The newest machine that applies the principle is 35 feet in diameter and weighs 700 tons. It is designed to transform into electricity an amount of energy equivalent to the work of 87,000 horses, generating a current that could feed 2,600,000 ordinary electric lights. Dr. Charles P. Steinmetz made a statement which enables the layman to gain an inkling of the power of this colossal machine. Quote, 1 kilowatt equals 1.34 horsepower. So 60,000 kilowatts represent about 80,000 horsepower. Each horsepower is equal to the muscle work of 22 and a half men. So 80,000 horsepower would be equal to 1,800,000 men. Where's the unquote there? But a man cannot work 24 hours a day, while the turbine can and does work 24 hours a day. Therefore, the big Chicago dynamo, that's what I'm saying. This is such gravy. I had this under my nose for my whole life, effectively, at my dad's house. Therefore, the big Chicago dynamo will do the work of 3 times 1,800,000 men, or furnish as much energy as 5,400,000 men working in 3 8-hour shifts, unquote. There we go. Wow. The most mysterious thing. Okay, the next excerpt is it says the most mysterious thing in the world, gravitation. Let's definitely read what these wizards are saying about that. Okay, gravitation is the force that operates universally between all masses of matter everywhere in the universe. Okay, how did you verify that? The law of gravitation, as discovered by the immortal Newton, is that mutual attraction is directly proportional to the masses and inversely proportional to the distance between them. What manner of thing is this force that acts, let us say, between the earth and the pencil in your hand, regardless of what may intervene, or between the earth and the sun across a vast abyss of empty space? A push or a pull. Where there is physical contact, we can, in a measure, understand. But how can a body operate on another body without some kind of contact? What, in any event, is the nature of this force that so persistently tugs at the pencil, and which we cannot screen or shut off, or in any wise modify? No one knows the answer to these questions exactly, and we still don't. The fact that the simple phenomenon of gravitation are everywhere observed and have been observed since men had eyes makes it only the more remarkable that no one has ever been able to put forward even a plausible theory as to the nature of the force involved. Right, but you guys want to make definite affirmations on that construct, gravity. There you go. What did you catch a fish recently, Skull Asylum? You ever hear about the check this out. Have you ever heard about the one-armed fisherman? He caught a fish this big. That's a fisherman joke, obviously. Historic Erie, good to see you, man. Okay, everybody, give a shout out to Historic Erie. That guy puts out some of the most awesome gravy about the Erie Canal. One of the components that I research and some of the infrastructure that I research with what I do here in Buffalo and all the way. Heck, I'd like to even get, as far as Oswego, hopefully, with that Erie Canal. So Historic, everybody give a shout out to subscribe at Historic Erie, and you'll definitely learn something the first post that you read of his. And he drops a lot of them. So good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. And we got to get up and maybe do a dual cast or do some field work together. Because, boy, do I got some ideas. I don't have enough time, but good to see you. Yeah, definitely. Skullasiam says the gravity fish. Yeah. All right, so what do we got going on here? We got wrestling. Anybody? What is exercise? We know what that is. Hitting the ball. We've all had our pops teach us that. Babe Ruth hitting a homer. The Babe. Some of these pages we're just going to, like that one, then we'll go to the next one. There's not a lot of gravy on it. Chickens made to order. I'm reading off just titles of these excerpts, guys, if you're just listening. Soldiers Field. We had a Soldiers Field in Buffalo. I did a episode on it. It's now that was the old rock pile where the Buffalo Bills used to play. And it was similar looking to this one, actually. This is Soldiers Field, Chicago, and it's got that stately architecture of that, I'd say Romanesque, and it's got pillars all over it. Yeah, that's Romanesque architecture. And it's the Army-Navy game at Soldiers Field in Chicago, sometime before 1931. And it's a big stadium. It almost looks, it's like this, what do they call it? Circa, like what they have in Constantinople. I forget what they're called, like the tracks. And then you also have the Roman Colosseum. Oh, this is interesting. I got a episode about time, about adding time, or what I think that was in history. We have Conquering Time and Space. On September 13th, 1931, Flight Lieutenant G.H. Stanforth of England flew his seaplane at 404 miles. There's some spelling going on there. He probably went through the air at a higher rate of speed than was ever attained by any living thing on Earth before. Compare his speed with other record-breaking speed tests. A human sprinter covers 100 yards in 10 seconds. In the same time, a fast thoroughbred runs 170 yards. A fast trotter covers 146 yards. A carrier pigeon flies 300 yards. But the airplane, in the same time, travels 1,975 yards. It goes more than 6 times as far as the carrier pigeon. The swiftest bird is an indifferent flyer pitted against a modern man bird. Neither in altitude, nor in distance, nor in speed tests could the bird compete successfully. And what bird ever equaled the post-Getty circumnavigation of the globe in less than 9 days? There is only one kind of flying in which the bird would win, and that is slow flying. That doesn't make sense. The airplane cannot slacken its speed below a certain minimum, or it will drop to the ground. Neither can the bird, of course, but its minimum is far below that of the airplane. But even the supremacy will not long be left the bird. Soaring tests are teaching man how to keep in the air while going slowly, and the helicopter, when perfected, will enable him to stand still in the air as one treads water when swimming. In this field, as in every other, man's ingenuity ultimately enables him to outdo the best efforts of all animate competitors. There you go, the ingenuity of man that never ceases to amaze me. Very interesting. We also have, I'm not sure, Golomets automatons. We got the steam engine here that the industrialized world was built on. I think there's a picture of it. The next one. Spectroscope is used. Yeah, I don't want to read all these. It's gonna be a minute. We're 48 minutes in. I've already gotten through. I might have to do a part 1 and a part 2. Hippodrome. Actually, fun. Nicole Halestock says Hippodrome. There's the pool hall near us. The old Hippodrome in Buffalo. Reminds me. So we got the spectroscope. And what's this on the field? An astronomical clock at the U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. Look at that thing. That's pretty cool. Cold light for microscope in movies. Clocks that must be coddled. 1,000 lamps in one. Very cool. We're getting now. Admiral Byrd is in here too. This is all about flight. I would say pause it and read. We got Colonel Lindbergh's flight, Lindy, across the Atlantic. Classic. We got radium gravy. All right, let's read about Lindy. The solo flight of Charles Lindbergh in the plane forever famous as the Spirit of St. Louis started from New York and landing as scheduled at Paris will be known as one of the great hero deeds of all time. This is like pre the flight. Whoa. Okay. It was properly applauded as an artistic, no less than heroic achievement. Oh, it had already happened. Okay. In that it ended exactly as planned, whereas most other successful transatlantic flights have resulted in forced landings. All the world looked on with interest when Mrs. Lindbergh, the former Miss Anne Morrow, became a pupil of her husband and presently an accredited expert. Their flight to Japan in summer of 1931 in the new airplane with wings below the body of the machine, whereas those of the Spirit of St. Louis were above, was accomplished, as all Lindbergh flights have been according to schedule. There you go. And then you got a picture of him. Is that his wife? I got a picture of them on screen. That's interesting. And now we have just like really hodgepodge, like I said. So then it says the next excerpt is about radium. Why is radium costly? When we are told that radium is the costliest commodity in the world, we naturally ask why. And we learn that radium is costly not primarily because it is so rare, but because so much time and skilled labor are requisite for its extraction from crude ores in which it is originally found. Yeah, the radium mines are unbelievable. You know, it's man, I shared some stuff about those, and I think that there's a whole bunch of them in like the Philippines, off the top of my head. Radium mines and the mines for the components that make up the batteries for the Tesla. Oh man, the mining that's involved with that is just extremely dirty. Okay, a comparatively small part of the ore dug up at the radium mines is rich enough to be worth working. This is broken into fragments that can be packed into 100-pound sacks like so much coal and shipped in carload lots to the factory where extraction is to be effected. The United States Radium Corporation has such a factory at Orange, New Jersey. Shout out to the Jerseys. There one finds a series of buildings with some of the lofts containing great vats suggestive of a brewery. Other rooms with ovens and apparatus reminiscent of a smelting plant. And still others show series of great tube-like receptacles like nothing that one has elsewhere seen. The tanks, we learn, contain the ground radium ore in a bath of sulfuric acid, which will extract a considerable part of the radium in the form of a sulfate mixed with various impurities, including barium and vanadium. Never heard of that ever. Vanadium? Anyone hear of that? A long and tedious process ensues in which part of the radium still associated with the barium crystallizes out of the acid solution, now in the form of a chloride, to be redissolved and recrystallized over and over, and finally transferred to yet other series of receptacles at this time, yada yada. That sounds like a very in-depth process. Radium sounds great. And we got crop dusting here. All right, so again, thanks for stopping by, guys. Bushwhacking History in Buffalo with Berserker Bear. What's going on here? Meandering River. We got the first Edison phonograph. Okay, little small excerpt here. It says this is what's going on here. All right, the first Edison phonograph. This is where the gravy. Why I like this stuff. This is the first of all phonographs. Interesting. This instrument being one of Mr. Edison's most spectacular inventions, allegedly. What the phonograph came to be a few years later, no one needs to be told. Actually, I do. I think the phone, right? I should know that off the top of my head, but I don't. The phonograph became the phone, right? Let's hit fire that one, y'all. Phonograph was invented 1877 by Edison. Alexander Graham Bell's Volta laboratory made several improvements. Okay, so the phone. And again, Tesla takes credit over Alexander Graham Bell. Or that's conjecture. Alexander Graham Bell is obviously given is accredited for the phone, but then, it's like Tesla steals the thunder. That guy. Where we at? Okay. Steel for Flivers, nothing else going on. We got Dr. Graham Bell. There we go. There's a picture of him, Dr. Graham Bell in New York, communicating with Chicago for the first time by telephone. There goes homie right there. And it says the invention of the telephone, Graham Bell, stands as the unchallenged inventor. Okay, there he gets his due credit of the telephone. He was born in Scotland, though his wife was largely spent a time in America, a native-born American. There you go. Okay, over on the next page, we got some logging on the way. Big picture of pretty big logs. It says they're on their way to the pulp mill. How trees become paper. Pause at your convenience and read through if you like. As a matter of fact, let me know, guys. Historic Erie says, okay, so we got some feedback here from Historic Erie. To me, it seems Tesla is overrated. I'm an Edison guy. How dare you? I would be the opposite. I think that Edison is the one that, they both could be. I think Edison is responsible. I appreciate the feedback. And of course, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And we are not, of course, we are not judging here. But it seems like Edison was given credit for a lot of stuff that necessarily wasn't his. Like, for example, we just seen in that Graham Bell invented it, but it was because of something that Edison did beforehand, And then, of course, the battle between Tesla and Edison with AC versus DC. Edison was a proponent of the direct current, and Tesla was alternating current. And one of the propaganda moves that, unfortunately, Edison would do to try to sway people away from alternating current was electrocute elephants in the street. So he doesn't seem like he was a nice guy. But then again, Tesla could have been a construct also. Oh, we got 20 people here. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Tartarian Truth, man. Thanks for stopping by, dude. You are hilarious. And you got balls of steel, man. I like your work. And I like you having the gumption to do your work. So good on you, bro. And I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. For real. Okay, next page we are on. If you're just stopping in, I'm literally just going over page by page. It's a little bit mundane, a little bit redundant, possibly even a little tedious, but this is a special book for me. It's my great grandmother's, and I've been wanting to present it for a while. So we got power boats, transatlantic photographs. That's all well and good, great. What's gravy to me is these divers. So the divers remind me of what I'm doing at the International Railway Bridge here in Buffalo, because I really don't think what we're told as far as the caissons installation, we got some problems there. And I might be, check your ears here, guys. I might be making a claim regarding the International Railway Bridge. So stay tuned. I got so much more work to do, not enough time, but I'm still doing a crazy amount of research on the railway bridge, on Erie Canal, on Vikings possibly being here. I'm in touch with local authors and local researchers. A lot of stuff is being done behind the scenes, and whenever I can get it out to you guys, I do when I can find the time. Again, I'm a family man. I work full time. Unfortunately, researching is part time, but it is what it is. So, what's going on here? What is this thing? Looking here, it almost looks like an organ with a bunch of tubes in it. It says Dr. Wolf's novel resonator. Never heard of it before. Wonder if anybody does in the chat. And let's read about what the heck it is. All right, here is a novel resonator, or sound distributor, designed for use in movie theaters to give improved. There you go. Almost like it's kind of almost like like a organ. Various tubes are designed with careful regard to the scale of sound waves, following, as the inventor Dr. Christian A. Wolf explains, the fundamental studies in acoustics of Helmholtz. This in itself is an important innovation, but the peculiar clarity and naturalness of reproduction is ascribed in large part to the use of a water surface as sounding board or reflector of the sound waves. Is anybody technically astute that can expound on this with a comment or anything? The suggestion came from the well-known pleasing quality of singing heard across water. The application of the idea is exceedingly ingenious, I'll say. The practical value of the method in bettering tonal quality in large-scale production has been successfully demonstrated in the largest metropolitan sound movie theaters. That's very interesting. I didn't ever read that. I have not read that excerpt in it. I've read quite a few. I didn't go through this book like front to back. So, and we got a speed. Whoa, we got okay. Doctor, what's on screen right now? Dr. A. Wolf's pneumatic speedboat. Got to be kidding me. That's amazing. Dr. Christian A. Wolf. That's V as in Victor, O-L, F as in Frank. Pneumatic speedboat. Look that up, y'all. Diving for treasure. Yeah, I'm going to be... Well, I can't. See, you can't dive at the International Railway Bridge because the nature of the current there is so crazy. But, you know, we're led to believe in 1873 they dropped caissons in that water. Man, I got work to do. Okay, here we go. Here's starting to get into some... You see the fly here? We're gonna start getting into the treatments for that. I'll go ahead and forward a little bit. No. Treatment meaning the V word. I said it earlier, but oh well. Yeah, here we go. There it is right there. I looked right over it. All right, so we got V therapy, V-A-C-C-I-N-E. I want to stop using that word. But so this is from the 1931 point of view. Okay, let's read what it says for V therapy. An anti-typhoid inoculation, a process that probably saved more lives in the World War than were taken by all agents of destruction combined. It may be expected that the name of Sir Almroth Wright, the originator of the method, will be remembered by posterity after such names as Foch, von Hindenburg, Haig, Pershing, Clemenceau, and Woodrow Wilson have become meaningless or have been quite forgotten. The other photograph shows flasks of anti-typhoid vaccine in New York laboratory. Right here. So one picture is of a younger gentleman getting administered a shot from an older gentleman. It says administering anti-typhoid vaccine. And in the other one, looks like a bunch of beakers. It looks like you're in actually Walter's work area from Breaking Bad. It's got a bunch of beakers with like what looks to be like white cloth wrapped around the top, sealed by, I don't know, maybe string or something. Very crude looking. Doesn't look like it's an aseptic area whatsoever. And I've had history in aseptic training. I've been trained high level clean room procedures at the pharmaceutical production company that I worked at for a couple of years in a class 100 clean room with first air barriers and rigid access barriers. And again, I was trained very stringently on the aseptic technique and process as put forth by the FDA, signed off on and trained to work in class 100 clean rooms. So I do have background to speak on such matters regarding aseptic process and aseptic technique, a clean room effectively. All right, so we have the tsetse fly, sleeping, the conquest of the sleeping sickness. And this was brought forth by the tsetse fly, carrier of the germ of the sleeping sickness before and after feeding. So what's the sleeping sickness? Let's read. The report that German physician has announced the discovery of an effective remedy for sleeping sickness must be accepted. Notice the utilization of the lexicon, if you will, or the grammar. Must be accepted as provisional only until the results of comprehensive tests, now said to be underway in Africa, are reported. Oh, jeez. What were they doing? It is no new thing to have remedies reported which are expected to conquer the deadly malady, but hitherto these have not stood the test of time. It will be recalled that the long series of experiments that led the late Dr. Ehrlich to the discovery of the famous, quote, 606, unquote, contemplated the discovery of an antidote for sleeping sickness. At one time, it was believed that the arsenic preparation could be used effectively in combating the African malady, but it was found that patients to whom the remedy was administered were in danger of receiving severe injury to the eyes as an after effect. Yeah, I'll bet. Doubtless the experimenters with the present remedy have not forgotten that experience. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to read the rest of it. So again, there we go. Just doing a bunch of experiments on humans, trying to see if the V remedy as inoculation works. My word. Send a prayer up, guys, because the thing's coming full circle right now. And I mean, that's really all I'm going to say about it. There's more pages about it. And I think I'm going to actually, I think I'm going to cut this short because I really we might do 3 parts to this. I appreciate that. Yeah, Mr. Narcissus, good to see you, dude. This is thanks for your support and stuff, and on Instagram also. That feedback means a lot, really, because I was just thinking I'm getting a little long in the tooth. It's boring, but I don't think it's boring. If I don't think it's boring, my common and regular followers, I don't think will. But yeah, it is what it is. So I do think we'll probably clip this up soon, wrap it up, and I'll come back for another live presentation, and we'll just get right into it and do the second half of this, because I might pull in some other books that I have, and you can see again the general MO of me presenting my books, because I got a whole bunch more. Again, when you've seen the giants in the front, another book that I want to share, a little bit of a segue, but I'm plugging myself for future research, is another book that I have called The World by the Fireside. And if you see what the giant trees, and we have Patagonian giants. So I wanted to show, I'm going to show this one as well, because I'll present it another time. It has Land of the Giants, and I'll do like a live reading where it won't be this long, because this book, again, that we're seeing right now, the Literary Digest, has so much information in it, and I feel obligated almost to read each one, but it's going to be way too long. We'll end at this, because this is the falls right here, and that will segue me into doing falls work. So yeah, there's so many books that I have from my collection from great grandma Frances and my grandfather that I have a compulsion to share with you. And this is another one of them, because it does have Patagonian giants listed in there, and it speaks of them as they are just a natural thing, like a like an Icelander or Australian, and then you got Patagonian giants. Literally explain. Now that book is like from 1892, I think, is the copyright date. These I have The World by the Fireside, which I'm going to present coming up soon. Also, I have Wood's Natural History. This is another old book too, like 1892, 1893 as well. So interesting to get a look at the world or the realm from that time period. The one that's on the screen right now is 1931 circa, but yeah, and then we have stuff like the falls. Like I said, that's 20 minutes away from me. It's a major component of the work that I do. And what you have on screen here, actually, this will be perfect, because I got to track back with Toronto Jew Bear. Shout out, brother. We're going to get more field work done here, because we think that there's a lot more going on than just what geology tells us. This might be an ancient old dam that was repurposed and might have been here. There might have been infrastructure here or ruins here when Columbus came in 1492. Again, because this is almost like 100 years ago now, and Niagara Falls used to freeze over. Even the plunge pool where these guys are sitting right now, this is below the falls. This would be effectively the plunge pool, and now is like it's water. It never freezes over like this. So I wonder, why did it freeze over at that time period, and why does it not anymore? That's the kind of work that I have to do. So let's see. We have a natural bridge at Zion Park in Cedar Canyon, Zion Park. On the screen, you see like a natural stone bridge. People who say that mountains are melted brick and everything like that will have a field day with this, but I say more possibly could be giant trees or titans. Maybe. The Zion National Bridge. We'll read this, and then we'll read the Niagara Falls water, and I will clip it. We'll save this one and do the next one probably within the next week. Second half of this book, guys. Again, I appreciate it stopping by. Kevin Kruger, man, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in, man. I always appreciate your support and your insight and everything that you share. Also helping me out, man. You're always shouting me out when I see you in other chats. So, dude, that means a lot to me. So, a regular over here. Old World, Michigan, good to see you too, man. Cool. That means a lot, guys. Thanks very much. Yeah, that's a good point. So Tartarian Truth says it's disturbing how they put bounties on those Patagonian giants. Yeah, I've shared that book. Man, if you scroll way down on my community tab on my YouTube channel, I want to show little like pictures of it, and that like I want to show the whole book. You know what I mean? I get such an ambition to get it all out for you, and then like I move like a locomotive. I'm slow and steady. So yeah, it is crazy how they did that, and it almost seems like they were systematically exterminated, to use that word. And we're familiar with that with what happened after the Columbian Exchange. So, yeah, good insight there. It's unbelievable what happened. And we're working on figuring it out. I mean, you are too, Tartarian Truth. The one research episode you did about Siberia and all the holes up there and what really did happen, because old maps do show a lot of cities up there. We're working on it. I know a lot of people want these answers like yesterday. It's just not going to happen with this. It's just not going to happen. So we're just going to keep it moving forward how we do. Keep it sleuthing. Okay, back to the Zion Park Natural Bridge. Natural bridges are rather uncommon structures merely because it is not very usual to find upper strata of adequate strength to support a natural arch. Overlying softer strata that can be worn away by running water. Usually the arch collapses and the bridge disappears. Here, however, is a bridge 100 feet high and of 150-foot span. The origin of such bridges sometimes seems puzzling. Yeah, I'll bet it does if you incorporate only geology into your explanation of it. There could be other things to it. Could be wood that has been turned to rock. By God, I don't know the mechanism, and I'm not saying that as a claim, but when these wizards will tell us these things and they say, well, this is conjecture, and they admit to it being conjecture, but then they make claims off of it. It's just laughable now to look at it, literally. They do the same thing with space. So, all right, anyway, the origins of such bridges sometimes seem puzzling. Yeah, you think? Because there may be water running underneath them, they fall, but they are always the product of river erosion from the sides and below, combined with normal erosion by rain and wind. Okay, so that's what they're saying causes every single time these things. Okay, I disagree. A meandering stream is the chief artificer of every natural bridge. Okay, well, that's definitely a claim. And we'll work on that. We'll have to track back. Okay, here's where we get into the Niagara Falls. Why did the Niagara Falls plunge pool freeze over 100 years ago, but it does not anymore? Is that can that answer to me how they built and installed the caissons for the International Railway Bridge? It might, because it might indicate that there was a lower volume of water, like the river wasn't as deep. But that's not what it says in the specs and the description of the actual engineering that went into it, because I went over it, y'all. So they got some serious anomalies here with how the Niagara Falls froze over 100 years ago, but they were able to install foundational caisson piers in 40 deep portion of the Niagara River that has constant 12-mile-an-hour current in 1873. Guys, you got to wrap your head around that one. I'm still trying to, and I've solicited information from the Fort Erie Museum. Thank you, Toronto Jew-Bear, for doing that. And I'm in the process right now of doing the same from the Army Corps of Engineers here in Buffalo that are stationed right next to the bridge, because they helped build it. So I'm doing field work here. I'm doing research that is pretty in depth and pretty serious. And I'm not going to make a claim about an international bridge if I don't got my guns loaded. So, strap in, y'all. I got way more work to do. And again, books. I'll share books along the way too. All right, get back to it. Niagara Falls in winter. No words are needed to interpret these photographs. You ain't kidding. I got a whole bunch more too for my own personal researching. These falls are among the most celebrated wonders of the modern world. They are never more awesome than in winter. The view from below the falls gives one perhaps the most convincing impression of what a glacial epoch must be like that can be conjured. I might agree. I mean, this does look like a glacial, frozen tundra landscape, doesn't it? But you're literally underneath the falls, and where they're standing right now would be water. They're called ice bridges, and I've detailed them before. I forget what episode, guys. I apologize. I got so stuff. I've almost like forgotten more stuff than I have in my head. But yeah, why did it freeze over? It definitely, I can confirm to you right now, even in the coldest of winter, unless they stop it for maintenance, which they can stop the American side of the falls. And it kind of indicates that it might have been artificially made at one time, maybe, allegedly, could it be? But I can confirm it does not freeze over. The plunge pool at Niagara Falls does not freeze over anymore, like you see here and like it did. And there's firsthand accounts of it doing 100 years ago. There's actually some accidents that happen. So that's the falls. We'll get back into this one the next time I come back, tearing down a mountain. We can get into deforestation and hydraulic water monitors. I did that on my Grand Island episode. So let's hop back in the chat and let you guys. Oh, wow. We got a super chat here coming in from 4Jacks. $4.44. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Much love and respect. That's reciprocal. Right back to you. I really can't express how much I really appreciate you guys. Nicole Halestock says the turbines, they did stop the water. So, yeah, definitely. In the 60s, 1969, I believe, top of my head, they stop the water. They go and see if they say it's to check out the infrastructure and the integrity of the tunnels underneath. But who knows what they're really doing? I think that there's a lot of tunnels underneath. As a matter of fact, let me just give you a little bit of gravy. Tunnel, Niagara Falls. Bear with me. Check this out. This is what I'm talking about. So you're looking at on screen, it says the greatest engineering triumph of the age, diagram showing Niagara Water Power Tunnel. And the tunnel is delineated, and you have Niagara Falls up here, okay? And the drop shaft to hit the tunnel, and it goes out to the plunge pool, Lower Niagara. So there is the tunnel confirmed under Niagara Falls. It is said here. But what's interesting is that there are other two cavities in this diagram that are not delineated at all. And one of them is in the shape of a vault. The other one is in like the shape of a gold bar upside down. That's the type of stuff I think that they're like, when they stop the falls, that they're looking into or whatever. And it doesn't delineate whether or not this is the Canadian or American side, but I believe it's the American side because it says Buffalo, New York down here. So on the American side of the falls, there's some serious tunnel action going on, and maybe some hidden ones, maybe some ones that were collapsed, but what's going on there? It's part of the aim and what motivates me to do my research. So yep, I got more coming for you guys. Sorry I couldn't go through this whole book, but man, we only got to go figure. I literally just noticed that we only got to page 33. Wow. God bless that. All right, so if anybody has any questions, I'll hang around for a little bit. Philip, good to see you. Philip says, have you seen pictures of Niagara Falls with power plants on it and hardly any water flowing? There were pictures on the internet. Yeah, I showcased that, as a matter of fact. I'll end with this. Point of peripety. Yeah, definitely. I believe you're talking about the Sholkopf Power Dam. And what I'm going to do is pull up a clip, and then we'll end it on that. I did a here we go. Speaking of Tesla, now this channel is no longer on YouTube, and I did copy and save it. Listen to what this guy says, and I believe it's what you're speaking about on your comment here, Philip. And Note the pictures that he says, or keep an eye out for these pictures.
Tesla is a little bit like this. After all, how many people have actually read the works of Tesla? His notebooks, his patents, his designs, and completely understood all the things that he created. I don't know if that's fair. It's very hypothetical and speculative for me to say that, but there's a reason. So this might sound wild, but I think that alternating current, something discovered by Tesla, was actually something that was rediscovered from a past era. So if you look into the history of Niagara Falls and the Sholkoff Power Station, go look at the old pictures and look at the Sholkoff Power buildings in particular. And I'll tell you what I saw when I looked at the various pictures. You have this old picture which shows all the old industry at the top of the falls, nice and neatly. The water from the canal was actually used and channeled into these different manufacturing businesses. But here we have a very early picture showing industry and harnessing of the falls. And then only until about supposedly 1905 do these buildings show up. And these buildings, I stand to be corrected, are not in the old pictures. So the other question is, where's photos of construction of the Sholkoff power plant buildings? I can't find them. And these are old buildings. They look like they could even predate 1905. And construction of them, supposing they were built at the beginning of 1905, well, there should be evidence of this. This is a heavily documented, iconic Niagara Falls. I mean, my goodness, there's thousands of pictures of this place. So there should be pictures of construction of these Sholkoff buildings. Now, that would be a pretty amazing sight to see as well, because for these buildings to have been built, that would have been a major engineering feat to construct them, perhaps to even stop the flow.
Hey, shout out to Sandra June. Thank you for that. She says, great research. Thanks. Old timer in Cheektowaga. Shout out to Cheektowaga. Notice the native name there, Cheektowaga. We have a lot of them here. Cheektowaga, Tonawanda, Niagara. There's a lot of them. And again, thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that a lot. Go Bills.
Of water to amazing sight to see as well, because for these buildings to have been built, that would have been a major engineering feat to construct them, perhaps to even stop the flow of water, to bring down heavy equipment to build these buildings, concrete forms and rebar and crane, all this kind of stuff. It would have taken years to build these things. So I don't really see evidence showing this. And here's these mysterious pictures of, to start with, you have industry and the Sholkoff buildings are not present. Then this other photographic evidence that suggests these buildings were built in 1905. I'll tell you what I think happened. I'm going to get right to the point. I think it's possible that the Sholkoff buildings at a previous time were buried underneath the rubble at the bottom of the falls. So they were ancient buildings. Then perhaps maybe with heavy equipment, cranes, I don't know, the rubble was removed. And oh my goodness, there's actually buildings under there. And maybe it's from a prehistoric colonial type of buildings that actually is part of the power generation of the falls. That's what I think. That's just what I speculate. I'm not 100% certain of this. So this isn't a video to state things as fact. This is really a speculative kind of video that I'm looking for input from people.
So, what do you think? That's another one of my my motivations is to do my research and try to figure out what that dude was saying. If there's any merit to it. Now, real quickly, let's go. Yeah, if I gotta make some of you guys some moderators here. Philip moderated. Historic Erie moderated. Kevin Kruger moderator. So yeah, okay. Keep in mind what that guy was saying about the falls, and I'm just going to show you real quick what I think's going on there, and I'll end it. Okay, so I forget who had made a comment about the Philip did. Okay, Sholkoff. So the Sholkoff actually, Philip, is down a little bit from the falls. The the Sholkoff that guy was showing where all those buildings were, dude, is was right in this spot. And I did the Tesla Niagara Falls video. I think it was bushwhacking number 5, and I detailed all of that. And I showed the video of how the old Sholkoff Dam actually was crumbled, actually fell apart, allegedly from an earthquake or whatever, right? But that's all about the power grab with J.P. Morgan and the Niagara Power Authority. But I did that, and check it out. So the Sholkoff is a little bit down from the falls, right? But yeah, what I think that guy hit it on the head. I think that these things were they were buried, and you could see how, like, if this is overgrowth right here. If they were smaller buildings, they could have been buried. The one building that I think is still there that was buried is the Canadian Power Authority, this old behemoth right here. And that's where I got to get more boots on the ground and work with Toronto Joubert, because he's in Canada. And I think that this building was definitely buried, and probably maybe here when Father Hennepin first laid eyes upon Niagara Falls. So that's the Canadian Power Authority. It's no longer in use. And you can see how it could have been like that gentleman said, but that requires further work. And I'm not going to make a claim yet. So we got more work to do. Okay, yeah. So I modded some more people. I think Philip got a mod. Kevin Kruger, you got a mod. Historic Erie got a mod. If you see any of those advertising spam, it's just go in the future going forward. I call it gung near. Shoot gung near at him. It never misses. So you guys are all modded. All right, that was the first half of my Grandma Frances Modern Marvels book, and there goes Pops. He was telling me a story about Grandma Frances there. So I was laughing. And she was a painter. So rest in peace, Grandma Frances. And because she was who she was is the reason I am the way I am and have the ability to share the books with you. So there's nothing more special to me, guys, honestly, other than my family, than doing my work here. Part-time though it is. Maybe we could change that in the future. Yeah, I have super chats. Thank you very much again for that super chat. And if you look under my videos that are monetized, I got super thanks now. You can donate via a comment. So just keep that in mind, because I am working on getting this to be hopefully a full-time thing down the road. So yeah, without further ado, you got my YouTube channel. You can get to my Instagram from the YouTube. And in between videos and episodes, I ladle a lot of gravy here. Anything from movies that I like to music that I like to research-related topics and all that good jazz and family stuff. There you go. Let's end it on that. There's my beautiful family, my beautiful wife, my baby girl. That's what it's all about, y'all. Be fruitful and multiply. God bless. Keep it sleuthing. And I'll report back. All right. That's another episode of Bushwhacking History for you. Watch your 6. Keep your heads and your faith up. God bless. And keep it sleuthing, y'all.